The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. It was a Monday, Memorial Day. H1N5, the Reaper virus, spread through the entire nation of the United States like wildfire. It started on the West Coast, but within a week, millions were infected. North America fell very quickly, followed by Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Africa held on the longest, but they too lost the fight to this unstoppable virus. Within 3 months of patient zero, only a very small select few number of survivors were left. 0.01% of the population. And with so few people, it didn't take long before nature took over. But that airborne sickness that struck so many dead wasn't the worst of it. The virus mutated, and the dead did not lie easy. They rose from their graves, and through a bite or blood-on-blood contact, they spread their infection even further. Now, like an ocean of unstoppable corpses, they flow across what was once known as the United States. The East Coast is gone, lost to nuclear explosions. A winter now hangs heavily over that area. And while all of the climate across what was once known as the United States suffers from that blast, the middle of America remained fairly unscathed. The West Coast is a mystery to all who live within what is now known as the Pin region, a select small group of communities that have banded together in what used to be Pennsylvania, Ohio. These small communities have found some solace together. They work tirelessly to support one another. Some have found themselves living alone in a deep, dark wilderness. People now are assumed to be an extinct species, a rarity. But like all needs of humans, we find ourselves seeking out one another, even in the most dire situations. Gathering together, holding tight to hope. Alone, many died quickly. Together, some managed to survive. 27 years after the end of the world, some people have managed to make a life for themselves. It's a difficult life. And all the scattered communities of this new world are held together with one thing: the goodwill and the bartering that occurs between each and every community. Farming communities barter to others that raise livestock. Communities that are able to scavenge and gather together remnants of the lost world, bring those valuable goods back into play, offering them to one another and working to bring back some semblance of the civilization that they lost. Many people now don't even remember what the world was like. Those that do are known as echoes. Many of them have suffered greatly in their time here in the apocalypse. Now, though, the Pin region is held together by a group known as Rag and Bone. They're merchants. They travel unaffiliated amongst all of these communities. They're the lifeline in a world that so desperately needs it. They transport those goods and services to where they're needed most. They save lives. They offer comfort, and most importantly, they offer news of the world around them. Isolation is so easy in this place. But we aren't going to begin in 2022. Our story starts in 1994, 11 months before the end. Remy Chapelet, you are French. You live in Paris, France. You are, by all accounts, a genius. At 12 years old, you earned your undergraduate degree. It was difficult, hard to be taken seriously, but you persevered. Now, at 18, you're in your second year of your doctorate. You work day and night to accomplish that which you want most. What is it that you want, Remy?
Just to help my mentor, Henry, to figure out a way to control viruses, to start or stop a spread of something new, which will surely come, and to educate others about how to do so. And it may seem controversial, but it's work that needs to be done.
Your mentor is a professor of yours, one that has given you so much of his time, has worked tirelessly to ensure your success, and has taken you seriously when many others would not. He sees your brilliance. He sees your singular intelligence. He sees hope for the world. Would you describe yourself in this moment at 18, please?
I sort of follow Dr. Pascal around. He's my mentor, but I dress a little like him. I wear a white lab coat everywhere, thinking it gives me some sort of status. I try to wear button-down shirts and look professional when I can, even though I'm young. I can at least try to dress the part because I'm a little older. Currently sitting at 5'5", hoping I'll grow a little more as the years go by. And got short black hair, cut in a bob. And I'm quite slight, small, but that doesn't affect my job.
You have a very fresh face, but your eyes are the eyes of someone much older than you actually are. It's a bit of a curse, this gift that you've been given. You can't connect with people your own age. You don't have many friends. Henry is the closest thing to a friend that you've ever had. Dr. Henry Pascal is an old gray man, French in stature and dress in every way. He has gray hair, he's balding, and has a patchy beard. He wears glasses that make his eyes 3 times their normal size. But he has a kindness about him, a stalwartness. When he is determined, nothing can stop him. He's been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize in the past. His work is world-renowned. He's the one who brought you into virology, the one who showed you the infinite possibilities that can be found within science. Within this medical field, you could save not only lives, but the entire world. The two of you are on a plane. You've left Paris behind you. He's brought you with him. You're excited. You're working on your dissertation already, and you hope that at the CDC conference that you're making your way to in the United States, in a city known as Philadelphia, that you will be able to do the things that you so deeply, deeply wish to do. To learn and understand the most complex and deadly viruses within this world, to pick them apart, to put them back together, and to use your knowledge to save lives. The plane is smoky. There are both French and English voices all around you. As you sit next to Dr. Henry, what do you say?
Do you think anything new will happen?
Use your English, please. They will see a child when you arrive. I would have them see you for what you are, a scientist.
I switched to English. So what is it we hope to accomplish at this conference exactly?
Can you roll a sense motive for me, please? The first roll of the game. I wish you well. You do have 3 competency points if you wish to use them now. But the end of the world you already know is coming. You might want to save.
That is 2 degrees of failure. I'm gonna save my competency.
You are very obtuse to any sort of play of emotion across Henry's face. But something's there. He squirms a little uncomfortably, clears his throat, and then fumbles with his journal. It's well worn, but lovingly kept as nicely and pristine as possible. He fumbles through some papers and shows you a strain of measles. He tells you that with the other doctors and scientists that you're going to meet in Philadelphia, he hopes to change minds.
Do you think their minds can really be changed just because we are going to a different place?
No matter where people are, no matter if they are in France or the United States, they're all the same. People are good. They may not always act that way, and mistakes are often made. But people wish to help people.
Well, I hope that's true. I hope this is beneficial. At least I hope it's not a waste of time.
If it is not, we will continue to fight. We will continue to tell them what we have learned. You know I respect your research, but being a student and so young, it is amazing what you've been able to accomplish. There are problems within my research that I would not have found without your aid. This is as much your victory as mine.
Well, it'll feel more like a victory if people will start to listen and we can move forward. I feel like we've been stuck in one place for quite a while.
What do I always tell you? Fire burns away all fear. It's always been like that. Primal humans created flame, and then shadow ran from them. Civilization began with flame. Flame, fire, viruses, illness, disease, destruction, hate, nuclear weapons. The creations of mankind can be used for many purposes. It is my belief that at the end they will be used for good.
Well, I certainly hope so, but by the numbers, we're probably due for another major outbreak of something soon.
The odds are definitely not in our favor. After landing, you find yourself in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. It's 1994. It's June. It's hot, muggy. You begin sweating almost immediately. And for a city that is called the city of brotherly love, you don't see very much of that. You see the dirt and filth that Americans like to show on their police procedural dramas. You see loudness. You hear the sounds of sirens around you. Buses, even Paris, with its bustle, has a certain rhythm to it. Here in Philadelphia, it seems chaotic, untamed. You're a little frightened. You and Dr. Pascal are in a taxi. You're traveling from the airport to your hotel. But he's been quiet for the past few hours. He hasn't said a word to you. You see his hand shaking as he pulls a small container out of his pocket and takes a small pill. You know that he's had heart issues, and you know what he's using. Doesn't bode well. I want you, Remy, to do something for me. Will you? before we arrive at the conference. Will you trust me?
I always do. What do you mean?
He reaches into his bag and he gives you his journal.
Why do you want me to carry this?
I do not want you to carry it. I want you to hide it for me. He leans over to the taxi driver and in English asks him to pull over. It's dark out. There are fluorescent lights buzzing. You see flies and gnats hitting a buzz zapper in front of a door. As the door opens and Dr. Pascal gets out.
Hide this. Can I look at it? Was it just put it away now? What do you mean?
He leans back into the taxi and whispers to you, I want you to take that into the ladies' room. Find a safe place and hide it. I'll be gone for 5 minutes. I'm going to make a phone call. When I come back, be back to the taxi, sitting here and waiting. Make sure it's safe.
Oh, okay. Okay. I go into the building.
You see the old man walking towards a payphone. He's fumbling for change. He picks up the receiver and begins to dial. He turns his back to you as you go in to the convenience store attached to the gas station. You see a very ponderously large individual seated behind a counter on a stool. He has a backwards baseball cap and acne is spread across one half of his face. His eyes are blurry. He looks like he's really stoned. He's drinking deeply of an enormous Slurpee marked Big One.
May I please use the restroom here?
Restroom is for customers only.
Okay, can I buy some of that gum I got here? And I grab a pack of gum and put it on the counter.
He looks at you somewhat annoyed, shakes his head, takes the gum, rings it up, takes your money, and then turns around and pulls what looks like a large spatula, dirty, off the wall. It has a key attached to a key ring.
Remy has never seen this kind of thing before.
It's around the back. If you're not back in 5 minutes, however, I have a second key. We've had a lot of drug use recently, and my boss is going to kill me if somebody else overdoses.
Okay, nope, just doing normal bathroom things. I noticed the key on the other end of the spatula. Finally, I will use the key part of this. They will be right back.
You enter into the bathroom.
I look around for somewhere to put this.
I'd actually like you to make a toughness roll.
Okay. God. That's 86 over.
86 over is over 5 degrees of failure. Yes. This is a critical failure. It's going to be very bad. Obviously, you wish to save your competency? Or would you like to spend some of it now? With 3 competency, you can only reduce this into a more regular failure.
Yeah, I'll use 1 to make it a normal failure.
Well, it's not a normal failure, but it's not a catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
As the smells from this restroom waft across you, you immediately begin vomiting. You buckle over, and the sight of it is terrifying. Use your imagination. You step in.
Yes.
Trying to hold your breath as best as you can. There are old needles on the floor. You look around. It's very dark. There's a single bulb that's flickering. Where would you like to hide the doctor's journal?
I will go against the walls and see if there's any kind of vents or any kind of anything in the wall that might open up.
There's a very old, very loud air conditioning unit that's rattled. Little ribbons are blowing into the space, but it doesn't seem to be blowing clean air. It seems to be recycling the air in space here and just blowing it back out at a lukewarm temperature.
Okay. I reach up and see if I can open up the unit.
You pry it open. There's a filter, and next to the filter there's just enough space to fit the journal if you choose.
Okay. Does it seem dry?
It seems dry.
All right. I kind of just shove the journal in there as best I can, and I take some like paper towels and try to like make a little barrier so it doesn't touch anything and close it back up.
As you do so, you find yourself standing in the darkness as the bulb flickers. There's a knock at the door.
Coming right out. I've been gone for 1 minute. Before I leave, I quickly I tear a little piece of paper towel to make a strip, and I just try to make like so I can tell if someone's opened it again. Like I try to stick it in such a way around the corner that it would rip if it was opened.
You do so.
And then I leave.
You step out, and there's a woman there. She's scratching her neck furiously, and she looks at you with dazed yellow eyes. She tries to push in past you.
Nope, this is for customers. I mean, I don't really care, I guess. I try to close the door behind me, but if she pushes, I just let her go.
All right. She pushes through and closes the door. You hear it latch. You return the key.
Sure.
The man takes the key, nods, and hangs it back up where he got it. The taxi is there. You see Dr. Henry Pascal sitting inside of it, patiently waiting for you.
In French. It's done.
He nods, and as the taxi leaves the convenience store behind, the fluorescent glow of those lights in the distance, you travel on into the darkness. And 11 months later, the world ends. "28 years later, on a rail track on the eastern side of the Penn region, a small group of rag and bone makes their way down the line. This particular line has been dubbed the Yellow Brick Road. It's well traveled, well mapped, and typically well trusted. However, many of the scattered communities on the East Coast have begun banding together with a group known as the Citadel. They call themselves the Reclamation Force of the United States of America, and they claim to be on a journey, one that is going to take them to a reformed new United States under the government and law that they provide. And they do provide safety and security, but at a very steep price. All of you exist on the outside of that tight-knit communal system. There are 3 major communities now: Grey Ridge, the Citadel proper, and Hagerstown. All of them slowly gathering more and more survivors, more and more military force, more and more power, more and more control over this emerging state. You work on the outside, on the outskirts, all of you. You've been together now for a few months. It is very common for Rag and Bone to break apart after a few jobs and find new groups to travel with, to learn and trade the information that they've gathered, and to make new connections. But all of you have been working together now for 3 years. Or, I'm sorry, 3 months. And in those 3 months, you have gotten to know each other. I'd like for each of you to describe your characters, but before I do, allow me to set the stage for you. You're walking. It's very dark. It's September. It's cold. Drizzle is falling down around you. And it's very, very frigid. You can see your breath now. Winter is coming quickly, as it has ever since the fall. There is a cart. It is a repurposed mining cart that is on the rail itself with metal wheels put together by flywheel. This cart carries all the supplies that you need for your bartering mission. There are 2 barrels of salted pork. There are a pair of pregnant goats and 1 very ornery billy goat. You have all of the mechanical parts necessary to build from scratch a makeshift generator, one that could power an entire community. It is very valuable. I don't need to tell you that. It is pulled by a very emaciated mule, and all of you are walking alongside it. Now, please, I'd like for you each to describe yourselves. Let's start with you, Sarah.
Absolutely. Flywheel stands at about 5'7". She, despite the cold, is wearing not much, maybe a jacket over a torn up shirt and a pair of overalls. She has a lot of grime and dirt on her that she doesn't seem to notice or care about, and has found some kind of something to do a semblance of what she has seen makeup to look like in fashion magazines that they've picked up along the way. She wears 2 braids and is currently sitting on the edge of the mine cart, kicking her feet a little as she chews on something inexplicable in her mouth, just watching everyone else.
Many of the wild ones, or ferals, or wild children, trade a gum-like substance that's made from tree sap. It's very sticky, and it's oftentimes can discolor your teeth a little, but it still is very sweet.
Tastes great.
Markia, would you like to describe your character, please?
Yes. Lenorma is surprisingly tall, about 6 feet, but on this wiry side. Kind of one of those quiet people that carries a big stick, kind of a deal. One that didn't know her might think her as timid so much as always watching. She's very practical. She's very literal with what she means and what she hears other people say. She's the slightly younger sister of Flywheel. Instead of mechanics, very much into technological type of things, digi-systems and the such. Remote things, basically. And she's good at getting things done. That doesn't mean that she likes people. She loves Flywheel.
And you do seem to have a way with convincing people to do what you want, don't you?
She's very good at getting done what needs to be done. It's good for the community.
Of course. I didn't mean to suggest that you were anything other than altruistic.
Altruistic, sure. That's a word.
We're here to tell each other all sorts of lies. We can start here.
It's easier for Lenorma when other people do the things that they're best at doing as quickly as possible.
Understood. And where are you in this procession?
Right now, Lenorma is hanging behind the generator. If anything, you can see every now and again she reaches in and tweaks something to do with that. Maybe if no one notices, she does take something out of there and puts that in a pocket
Fair enough.
just in case.
Yeah.
No one can trust people.
The parts, it's not a full generator built quite yet, but is assembled in various stages. You managed to grab a series of gears and you slip them into your pocket. And if you'd like, you can make a stealth roll to see if your sister notices,
Sure.
as they are the closest one to you. Would you prefer sister or sibling?
Sister's great for flywheel. She, her.
Yeah. Lenorma is she, they.
Very well.
It's been a while. Both of these.
So your stats should be ready to go, and if you throw those dice, we can find out where you're at.
Got a 66. My stealth is a 35.
Okay, that's not the worst in the world. You've got 3 degrees of failure, and I'll tell you what, I'll allow you to succeed if I can take 10 risk.
No, I will fail miserably. I think my sister should see this.
So be it.
In fact, I'll stare her in her face while I'm taking the gears and kind of just like smile a little bit. I put it in a pocket.
Yeah. I just like throw a wink towards Lenorma.
To those of you not familiar with Outbreak Undead, there are a few very important mechanics that we'll be using tonight. Each of the players use a resource known as competency points. They allow themselves, as they move forward with their roles and their actions as their characters, to improve and alter results. This game can be very brutal. It is meant to be a simulation. Oftentimes when you roll, it's really for dramatic effect or when you're under a great deal of stress. It's assumed that if you're a mechanic, you're able to do mechanic work when there aren't 50 zombies on your tail. Risk is a resource that I use, and you'll find me often trying to gain risk as often as possible so that I can reuse it to make the situations that the characters find themselves in much, much worse. Remy, we've already met you, but this isn't 18-year-old Remy. This is 45-year-old Remy. You've been through so much. Would you like to describe yourself now?
Sure. Over the last few years, Remy never grew a little taller. She's still 5'5". Her hair is very short, kind of jagged. She just cuts it with a knife when it gets too long, gets in her eyes. She looks a little more wrinkled around the eyes, the mouth. She's a little sad. She talks quieter. Not as much as when she was young. And she wears a large hoodie, just sort of formless, shapeless clothes, just to keep the cold out. And trails sort of beside the pregnant goats, sort of petting them and looking off in distance and walking alongside the cart.
Your hand moves across the warm fur. It's raining and they're slick. The goats bleat and look to you with strange, wild eyes, happy to be pet. And then your hand brushes their stomach, full of life and possibility.
Soon for you, maybe. Little guys. Hopefully it works out for you.
Luis, would you like to describe yourself?
So I'm Thomas J. Sennett. He stands at about 6'1", big guy, built, and his short, dark hair, a heavy brow, very square features, and he has a kind of buoyant warmth, especially for a guy of his size. Sometimes you might kind of see a big kid when he's not on the job. serious. When he smiles, which is common for someone in the dire circumstances that we're all in, his eyes are what light up and smile first, and then the corners of his mouth are what follows afterwards. And he is wearing layers, t-shirt, flannel, ball cap turned backwards. On occasion is looking at Flywheel, who seems like should be feeling some cold, but
Catch.
and what I catch?
It is a piece of wood.
Always keeping his eye on Flywheel, and then turns his gaze to Remy and observing kind of care and tenderness with how she strokes the goat, and just keeps his eyes on her as he moves down the railway line with me.
That's not the entirety of your rag and bone crew, however. There are 2 others who are traveling with you. Well, 2 others and a special pet that I forgot to mention earlier. The first individual that I'll describe to you is known as Nibs, another feral. He uses he, they pronouns, and he has a wild shock of blue hair. He has broken teeth, but he smiles unabashedly. He's not bothered by it at all. The snaggletooth, broken mouthful of teeth beam with exuberance, life, and youth. You don't know how old he is. He doesn't know how old he is. But he's been with the Rag and Bone for some time. He has a liking to the comforts of civilization, which is very uncommon for any of the ferals out in the wilderness. Many of them prefer to live on their own, to hunt and gather and survive outside of all the complications that come with everything that the echoes bring. These children were born in a world without the civilization and comfort that we all know. And Nibs is no different. But Nibs, much like Flywheel and Lenormand, has learned quite a bit about the world that happened before the fall. Through VHS and CD players, tech that both Lenormand and Flywheel have been able to help. You've helped maintain some of this. You actually have a CB radio with you. You have a map, a compass, and an old television VCR combination. When you have generated power, you're able to use it. You do have a battery pack, but it's for emergencies only. However, Nibs is very openly chewing on a piece of salted pork that he's taken out of one of the barrels and is walking, whistling as he moves forward. Walking very nonchalantly next to the cart. Not loudly, but just softly.
Hey,
What's up, dude?
when did we call snack time?
Oh, bro. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. I was going to share some with you, but I thought that
Norma slaps it out of his mouth.
Bummer, man. You don't have to... All right. Sorry. Norma, I'm sorry, okay?
What if we all did that?
Well, I'm
We
not
all
going to eat
can do
later.
that.
Dude, I'm hungry now. I'll eat now and I won't eat later. But he
I
picks,
don't believe you.
he picks it up. Do you do anything while he's like bent over picking up the salted pork that you smacked out of his hand?
I pick up one of the gears that I put in my coat, and I kind of hold it in my hand. It's kind of got a serrated edge to the gear.
He looks up and he looks at you, and then he very quietly, without saying a word, walks over to the barrel, opens it up, and puts the salted pork in after brushing off the dirt, sort of. Sorry, dude. It won't happen again, okay?
I'm really glad we had this talk.
For sure, bro.
I'm even better that we'll never have this talk again.
Crystal clear. We're good, dude.
Yeah, Norma's got her way with words, right?
It ain't the words I'm worried about. That's a hell of a right hook. And he kind of rubs his face as he walks a little closer. You all hear this commotion in the back. It's not super loud. The ferals all kind of have a few innate gifts that they carry with them, having been in the wild for so long. They're usually very stealthy. They know how to blend into any environment very easily, and they know how to maintain the perfect level of conversation to not attract Romeros. Romeros are what many within the Pin region call the dead, known by others as zombies or revenants. Many call them Romeros. It's a sick joke, and no one's exactly sure who started it. But it's here now, and it's permanent. No one's been able to shake it loose. It always comes back to Romero. All of you are traveling then, and next to you, Senate, is Eli, who's walking quietly. Very nebbish, older man. No one's sure if he's an echo, but he's probably old enough to be, at least perhaps a child when it all went down. He's got sort of thinning hair that's slicked back. He's very thin, very tired looking, and he's nervous. He's only been with your group for 1 month. His previous Rag and Bone crew were killed. All of them. He was the sole survivor. The shipment was lost. The lives were lost. And an entire safe house, one of the many that the Rag and Bone use along these rail lines, was destroyed in a fire. Rumors exist, of course, and some talk about the corpses still undead being hung from trees, moving, grasping wildly in some sort of sick show of dominance. Everyone has thoughts on who might be responsible, but no one has been able to prove anything. And you all assume that Eli's strangeness, quietness, and clear trauma is why he acts the way he does. Senate, he's fidgeting, and he's walking next to you.
I'm going to get a little bit closer to him. Just kind of see if I can get a better read on his...
Immediately steps back. You step forward, one step to the side.
You okay there, buddy?
Yes. Everything is fine.
Yeah, everything's fine.
I'm okay. Just want to be alone.
Eli, you ever been down this track before with your other group?
Once.
Well, just stay close to me. Keep your eyes open. Everything's fine.
I can do that. Thank you.
I'm going to kind of fall back a little bit and sort of keep him in front of me. Trying to get like a wider shot of the group as I start to kind of lag behind a tiny bit.
I'd like you to make a spot listen check for me, please, Senate.
Uh, 1 degree failure.
Not too bad. Would you like to make that a degree of success by spending some competency?
Only have 3.
If you give me 10 risk, I'll give you 1 competency.
Okay, I'll do that.
Oh,
10 risk, and then I'll spend 1 competency to make that success.
I now have 23 risk for use at a later date, and you have 1 additional competency point. This is how bartering and trading occurs on the rails, much like the Rag and Bone. It's a pleasure to be back with all of you.
We'll see.
You can trust me, Luis.
Oh, yes. I trust you not.
Can I say that in the way that we are around that cart, that we are in a formation?
Absolutely. In fact, you are very skilled at a particular formation known as walking the line. Walking the line is a very specific formation that is created and used by the Rag and Bone. It originally was created by a group known as the Ender's Line, but they've gone dark. Your group particularly knows how to perform this formation very well. It is a bit of a diamond. You have somebody at point, somebody on the rear, and then the rest of your individuals that are traveling with you are on the right and left of your particular package. Whatever it is that you're traveling with, whatever is valuable, it's surrounded by the rest of you. Everyone has one sector that they're keeping their eyes onto and doesn't bother with any of the others, trusting that each other has the other's back. And so with that, you have certain protections, and you have certain morale boosts that I will take into account. Very well done. Are you doing anything while this formation is locked into place, Lenormand?
Lenormand is the rear point.
Okay.
And I start to fall back, and although I'm on the side, one of the middle ones, as I start to kind of observe Eli's kind of anxiety, his anxious nature, I start to fall back, and when I approach, I will share with you. Eyes on Eli. It's not doing so good.
Is there something wrong with Eli?
A little shaky. So,
Emotionally wrong or physically wrong?
emotional affecting the physical. Nothing to be too alarmed about just yet.
Is it something that salted pork could fix?
Maybe. Should we try it?
Usually eating or drinking something works first.
I'll take that note, and then I'll keep an eye on him, and then I'll see if he seems a little thirsty or hungry. Work.
You succeeded on your spot listen, so I'll tell you a little bit about Eli's state of mind. He's clearly fidgeting, he's clearly nervous. He does look hungry, but he also keeps looking at something in his pocket.
Yeah, let's get him a snack.
Is there something more?
I'll
You
just
feel secretive.
maybe, and then I'm gonna lock eyes with you, and then I'm going to turn my gaze to Eli, and I'm gonna pat the pocket I feel like he's fidgeting.
Are you trying to be stealthy, would you say? Are you being subtle, or are you just patting the pocket?
I'm gonna play it off as if I'm like rubbing like a sore. So I'm trying to play it off as something, but I'm not trying to hide it necessarily.
So you're openly engaging in contact.
Oh no, I'm patting my own
I
to
apologize.
signal.
You're to show where the item is,
Yes.
right?
Massaging
understood.
his sore muscle is very
Got it.
different.
You don't need to roll anything for that. I apologize. I thought you moved back and were trying to pat him down.
No, not him. No.
So be it. My apologies.
Massage his soul.
Remy, you are on the right side then, Sinus on the left. The two of you are working in the back side of the formation, which puts Eli up in the front at point.
With nips?
Eli and Nibs. Yeah, Nibs wasn't floating around the middle, kind of without any sort of purpose, and looks at you for a moment and then immediately goes up into the front with Eli. The final member of your group is a capuchin monkey. It's uncommon, but not impossible for many of the animals that once existed in the zoos that had been set free during the fall to have gotten into the wilds and to procreate. There are monkeys in this area from time to time, along with parrots and a few other exotic animals. This particular capuchin, it belongs to you, Lila. You have taken this pet in, and you've lovingly named this capuchin monkey Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan. Of course
That's
I
right.
have.
You have a number of VHS tapes, and you love them dearly. One of them is Sleepless in Seattle. And from that, Prelude to a Kiss and When Harry Met Sally. You have quite the collection. And your pet has earned a moniker that you feel is appropriate. She's feisty, she's youthful, she's
Yes,
playful but
very
intelligent. Everything that you see Meg Ryan as.
Yeah, and I just have Meg Ryan sitting right on the right of me in the mine cart, and yeah, just tossing things back and forth as I keep an eye. And as you finish your conversation, I say, "There a problem, Happy?"
Me? Nope, no problem. Not yet.
No problem. I know, I think he's full of shit.
I don't know. Don't start with me, Meg. I'm not in the mood.
Meg ducks into the cart, picks up a bolt, and tosses it at you.
I am going to try to dodge it.
Are you're going to actually roll a dodge for a bolt from a monkey?
Is
You
it
can.
like
Would you like to spend some competency and make it an auto success?
how much risk do you want me to give you in order to succeed automatically?
I'm going to automatically let you dodge the bolt to keep us moving. Remy, after your encounter with the goats, are you quiet or are you engaging in any of the
I hear
levity that's happening in the group?
the bitching and the monkeying and all that other stuff, and I kind of like snap back to what's happening. And I'm trying to ignore all that. I can hear everyone talking, about like whispering about Eli, and I see the monkey stuff happening. Please don't waste the stuff on the cart. The monkey's cute. Love monkey. Please don't have it throw things in the cart. Can you, Senate? Can you pick that up, please?
I had already picked it up and just like waving it in the air.
Don't.
Just so that I'm bringing it back.
Okay, don't play with it. Just
I'm
put
not,
it back.
No, it's not playtime.
Meg jumps from the cart onto Lenorma's shoulder and is using you as a better vantage point to watch Senate very closely.
It is very interesting how Meg Ryan does not trust you. I find
yet.
it interesting.
That's because I haven't had enough time with Meg Ryan to work my charm. But the day will come when Meg Ryan will choose my shoulder over yours.
The only one who's not distracted seems to be Remy. So Remy, I'd like for you to make a spot listen check. It's very important that you succeed this role.
Listen, how on a scale of 1 to 10 important is it?
I can't give you any
I
more information
rolled
at this time. I'm
An
sorry.
89. I have a 47, so that's 4 degrees of failure-ish.
It is 4 degrees of failure.
Cool.
Not a catastrophic failure, but one that will certainly keep you from paying attention to your surroundings.
I spent 2 of my compensate, or 1 of my compensaries. Only have 2 left. It is 7:08 p.m. y'all.
If you begin keeping track of time again, I will begin keeping track of time as well.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm just gonna take a fail because it's gonna fail either way.
Very well. So the group moves on.
Would love to have a conversation with Flywheel.
Absolutely, please do. The two of you are walking along the rails, and everything seems very, very normal. It's drizzling. Proceed.
Meg Ryan's friend of you told me that fresh fish has something to hide.
I look towards Eli. Something to hide, like, or
And Lenorma touches the same pocket that Senate showed her. I've never liked how he's joined the group. I never liked how his group ended up. You know, I've always been against you being here with us, but we need the numbers. But I don't like how he's working. Maybe he needs water and food, and maybe that will help.
yeah, he looks really hungry.
Or maybe something needs to happen to him.
Something to know something, or something.
It is very easy to find another container to put salted meat into.
Let me do some investigation. And then we'll see how stuffed our friend needs to be.
If you need me, I'm always here. Always.
Yeah, I know. And I am going to step forward, reach back to grab some food rations from the cart and sidle up to Eli.
Let Nips know it is not his snack time yet.
You want to come, Meg?
Meg jumps under your shoulder. Eli has catastrophically failed to sense motive, so proceed.
Eli! How are you?
I know everyone is they're very concerned about me. I appreciate that. I'm okay. I'm fine. The Senate is asking, and now you're
I'm conducting a survey here, Eli. So no hard feelings, but it's not you specifically. Speaking of specifically for you, however, and I hold up the salted pork.
breaking
Special permission
rations or
from the great leader themselves.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Will, I haven't eaten quite a while, and I know we're trying to make it all the way to the docks first, but I could eat, yeah.
Go for it, dude. And as I hand it to reach for him, I want to try to reach into his pocket at the same time.
How would you like to do that, and what skill would you like to barter with that
I-
intention?
Love to use stealth or search. Either one.
You can do search.
Great.
That makes the most sense to me. So you hand the salted pork over, and let's see how you do on your search rate.
Ooh. That is an 87. I have a 65.
You're very good at searching, yet you still have 2 degrees of failure.
That's very true. Let's say I'll let it ride.
He takes the pork, and then he grabs your hand in his pocket. His eyes narrow, and he steps back immediately. He lets go of your hand, but you never got inside the pocket. He backs away, looks at the pork, looks back to you, and throws it at your feet, and keeps walking.
I look back at Lenormand, who is like staring eagle-eyed at you and is like poised.
There's an explosion. A blaze of fire is to your right. Remy, it's on your side. You're right up on it now. You've got maybe 30 yards, and there's a large fire not far away from you.
All right, stop fucking around and pick up that fucking pork and let's go. Come on. There could be people over there. Watch out for Romero's.
Go.
And I want to try to instruct the group to start to push the cart somewhere a little hidden, and we're gonna go investigate.
You
Or
hear
one
3
of us.
gunshots as you begin investigating.
Okay.
You put the cart somewhere, but before you do, it's a bit of work. You have to lift it off the tracks, take it off to the side. Which of you is going to try to conceal it?
I'll be doing the heavy lifting. Someone else can help with that.
I would suggest somebody who's very, very good at survival.
That's survival.
It's all right to fail, but
I
it's
have a
success to be very good.
25% in survival because it's an expert skill check.
That's very good, actually.
So I'll, unless someone has better than that, I will
A failure on an expert skill isn't going to have the same severity because of what you're doing. So you can go ahead and roll for that, and we can see how you do. You might get lucky.
Okay. Sure.
This is a little more than advanced survival. This is more than just finding some berries in the woods. This is knowing how to make this cart disappear through camouflage that is present in your immediate vicinity.
All right, so I have a 55 and
Okay.
I have a 25
So you're
survival expert skill.
you're at 3 degrees of failure, which isn't a catastrophic failure. It's just a failure. What that would mean if you don't do anything at all is that you've covered the wagon. It's not immediately visible, but it isn't so well hidden that if somebody wasn't in the area for any amount of time, they wouldn't see the strange, rushed job of camouflage that has just been created in that area.
And if I spend 1 competency point to bring it down to 2, what would that mean?
If you spend 3 competency points and give me
No.
10 risk, I
No.
will allow you to just succeed.
No,
Very well.
I guess it has to be a very good rush job. And I just won't go too far away from the cart then, I guess.
That is wise. What you were able to do in 5 minutes is impressive, but like I said, it won't stand up to any amount of investigation from anybody passing by. The rest of you, after doing this, takes about 5 minutes. There is a fire crackling. The gunshots have subsided. You don't hear any more. I'm going to hold on what's happening on the rails on the yellow brick road for now. And I'm going to go, for the first time, to Starburst. Thank you for your patience. Starburst, would you please describe yourself as you crawl from the wreckage of the crashed helicopter?
Starburst, army crawling, leaning particularly onto her left side, lifting her right arm, has scraggly black hair that's matted close to her neck and tangled. She has clothes that are just barely held together. It's hard to tell if they were like that before the wreck or if it's the result of this, but it's strings repeatedly tied back together. And her face is hollowed, her cheekbones very, very gaunt, and her complexion very pale. Not quite zombie pale, but unwell. She's a young adult, but malnutrition causes her to have a very small frame. She didn't get to her full size that she should have. And you can see around the ties of her clothing deep scars, layered, like over the same places again and again, all over her body that look like teeth marks, primarily. Some much fresher than others, but most of them at least to a point of scabbing and healing as she frantically looks around in the wreckage, pulling herself out from under a piece of metal.
You pull out as the gunshots begin. The dead are here, many of them. The only other person on that helicopter with you before everything became blurry and then yet another hypodermic needle was stabbed into your neck was one man, the sole surviving soldier of the complex that you've just been freed from. Now the helicopter is in bits, fire is everywhere, and the explosion has drawn many of the dead from the surrounding area. You're under a piece of metal, and in the distance you see the silhouette of that man still in his skull-like armor, like a skeletal face on a black, smooth helmet, firing wildly into a large swarm of the dead that are surrounding him.
And he survived, okay. I am going to get my foot out from under the last piece of metal, and I'm gonna kind of try and roll over to be on the other side of the wreckage, on opposite from wherever the dead is coming from, to just kind of take a cover and collect and assess my own injuries.
The first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to have you make an endurance roll.
That's fair.
Skill is on the very bottom.
Okay, where is my endurance? Okay. That's so bad.
Not very good.
I've got a 94. My skill is a 35.
So you have 5 degrees of failure.
I do.
It is catastrophic.
Uh-huh.
You begin to black out, and you realize that you might very quickly lose consciousness, but you know if you do, you're most likely going to bleed out and die. You feel the blood rushing off your leg. Your arm is most certainly broken. You feel the bruises welling up around your eye, and it's starting to close. You see the fire behind you, the silhouette of the armored soldier, and the dead, like a tidal wave, rushing closer and closer to you. You see that he's been pulled down now. You will die if you pass out. If you give me all 3 of your competency points, meaning you'll have no competency points remaining for the rest of the game, I will allow you to succeed out of the kindness of my heart.
Okay. Take them. Couldn't I have done something that screwed over the larger party rather than just myself?
In fact,
These people are not yet my problem.
you in fact could not have, because I knew that that would be the option that you would take.
Fair.
I know you, Sage Ryan.
I don't know who that is.
I know you well.
Her name's Starburst.
Oh, I know Starburst too. Starburst, you pull from some impossible well of willpower and drag yourself forward. I'm not going to make you make a stealth roll. I'm not going to make you make any other rolls in this moment because I feel like the damage has already been done. You pull yourself behind a tree. There's a thick bed of moss. The drizzle is rolling down around you. It's wet, it's slimy, it's muddy. Now you feel it mingling with your wounds, and you feel a sharp stinging as the shock wears off and your body begins to ache and hurt. You've suffered so much at the hands of your captors, and now it seems that you're free.
Where's the doctor?
The doctor, the last that you had seen him, as you started to fade from consciousness, was standing above you. And then that soldier had a gun pointed at the doctor, and then you heard a final gunshot, but everything went dark. That's all that you know.
Is there anyone moving where are the gunshots coming from?
Do you want to go back to the wreckage of the helicopter and find out?
I want to peek around the tree and try and see from the tree. I do not want to get up and go back.
Make a spot listen check for me, please.
Okay. That is 2 degrees of success.
Someone did good to it.
If somebody's in there, we're dead. There's no surviving the center of that massive fire. If they were alive and crawled away, you wouldn't be able to see them. And if they were, in fact, working with the soldier that you think might have tried to shoot him, he would have been a captive too. And if he was out of his armor and handcuffed, there's no hope.
I am going to, if I'm at a tree, is it like proceeding into like nature, forest? What is the opposite direction?
We've been talking a lot about how you've been traveling. You're very skilled. You have a formation. Do you have any light present with you? Or are you walking in the dark?
I think we have light that could be turned on, but it isn't currently. I think we're all comfortable enough in the dark to...
We're on the rail line, and that
Yeah.
can be our guide.
We don't need to navigate.
You see a ridge. In the moonlight, which is very bright, thankfully, you see what looks like a glint of metal and a lot of rock overgrown and, you know, nature everywhere, but there's something man-made up there.
How far from the wreckage am I as well?
Currently, you're perhaps about 50 yards from the wreckage. You were thrown considerably far away from that explosion.
Is there any metal wreckage around me?
I'll give that to you.
I
For
pick
10
up
survival
whatever I
points.
can. For 10 survival points? Jesus, man. Yeah, take it.
Okay, you have 40 survival points remaining, and you find a shard of
Wait,
metal.
but I
that you're
started with
now carrying.
100.
What do you do with this shard of metal?
I just take it in my most like functional, uninjured hand, and I just want to hold on to it for protection. She just grips onto it so tightly that you can see like veins exposing in her hands as like her only tether to protection. And I'll start limping my way towards that glint of metal.
You start limping, and as you do, you feel a gloved hand on your shoulder, and you are whipped around as you see the face of your captor, the soldier, bloody, bitten across his neck, blood gushing from the wound, a crazed anger in his eyes as he looks at you. His jaw is broken, most of his teeth are shattered, his tongue is swollen, and he still manages to say something to you, Starburst, that is very, very clear. I may die here, but you're going with me, you bitch. As you see his gun move towards you,
You're already dead, and I'm going to try to flee.
you turn and you're going to try to escape him
Here I am.
from his grasp. I'd like for you to make a grapple check, please.
Okay. Yeah, that's 2 degrees of success.
You're very good at slipping away in this moment, and you pull back as he falls forward and takes a shot at you. You don't need this right now, but the bullet rips through your shoulder, throwing you downward. We're about to take a short break. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you for joining us. Starburst was just shot and is slowly bleeding out in a forest not far away from the rest of the Rag and Bone crew. We will come back to you now. You've managed to hide your cart, and all of you are gathered together. Another single gunshot rings out. It's much, much closer than any of the others.
Take out my own pistol, but I look at the two because you're still guarding the cart, correct?
Yeah, but at this point, it seems like everybody's moving away from it. I'm going to, seeing that you're heading out, I'm going to head out too, but I'm going to be very close to Eli.
Yeah. Extra ammo.
And I'll take out my. Ooh,
What are you taking out?
This is difficult to.
You have two
decide.
very, very interesting weapons. Which would you like to take out?
Let's go with the automatic compound crossbow.
One that you've specially modified.
Yes,
You're very good at this.
very good.
You have a couple of weapons that you've modified that are unique. The others, you're all carrying a rail driver, which is a specific rag and bone weapon that is made from old machinery found on the line. They're varied, but mostly they're large, very cumbersome, heavy spears that you learn how to wield and use as a stabbing device that can take a Romero down from a distance. It can also take down a person, as many of you have proven in the past. You, however, take out your compound crossbow. What would you like to do with it?
Did he grip you too hard when he grabbed your hand?
Not hard enough that he's not still useful.
I understand. I'll watch out.
I'll stay behind.
And I'm going to head forward, Eli in my sights,
Eli,
but moving towards the sound.
understood. Eli has unsheathed a machete and is holding it, still holding formation. so is on the opposite side, or is in the front, but is on the opposite side of where this gunfire is happening. All of that is much closer to you, Remy, on the right side of the what was once the cart. Now you've formed together in this triangle as you're moving forward over the ridge. It's up to all the rest of you as to how you proceed. Senate, Remy?
I'm immediately going to go to that side.
Okay. Before we would have left, I would have ordered also Nibs to stay behind and watch the cart. Just to make sure someone's watching it, because we can't leave it abandoned at this point.
He seems very crestfallen and something's bothering him, but he just kind of like mopes away. He's very low energy, which is very strange for him.
I just whisper, "You can eat the pork that was on the ground, okay?"
He sort of smiles and goes back to the car.
Okay. Just gonna give all these kids little snacks. Won't do anything. All right, let's go. Let's stealth.
All right. Moving in, the survivors.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the rear of you two, probably about 15 feet away.
And you and Eli are walking next to each other.
And I guess we're in formation diamond shape again. Eli and I in the front. Eli further in the front than I am.
You keep moving back and he keeps trying to walk alongside you, but it doesn't happen. And then on like the second attempt, he stops and he starts moving forward. You see a large number of Romero in the distance, pushing through with the fire to their back. Their silhouettes are spread out in front of you. It's at least 50 of the dead. And they're shambling towards you as if they were drawn here by the gunshots. The gunshot was in the vicinity of where you're at now. I need you all to make a spot listen check. The higher the spot listen check success, the better this is going to end for one of you in particular at this table.
Is this a 0 or 100?
Is there anything?
That is 100.
Is there anything that we can put in for training value bonus to add on to the end of this, such as, I don't have recon.
For your spot, you don't have, you're not,
Tools.
Achira is long gone.
Adherence is going on, and I had to get out of that mindset.
You don't have anything that will help you in this
Got it.
situation. So
Spot listen, straight roll it is.
Rolled a 19, so that's 3 degrees of success.
that starts to compensate for the 5 degrees of automatic failure that
both of us
Remy.
Oh! We both rolled 100.
You both rolled 100.
I rolled a 94.
Well,
And 94 is not 100.
No.
Oh, yeah, I rolled 81.
What the hell?
Feels good to see.
I'm focused on one person right
Yep.
now.
And I'm going to give that to you. He looks nervous and he is acting even more fidgety than normal. He is clearly uncomfortable about something, and he keeps kind of like looking over his shoulder at you and then looking at the others as if to keep track of where everybody is. You start moving down the ridge. The only one of you who is paying any close attention to any of this is Flywheel. However, because you have 5 degrees of failure, why don't you help me decide how this ends for Remy?
well, okay. Right, mine was 100 years old. The difference between a critical. We were both together.
I'm setting my timer for 1 minute.
Okay. We're both together, but as we start hearing the noise, I'm starting to peel off a bit, and I'm going too fast to be stealthy.
And I see her peeling off, and I'm right on your heels because I don't know what you're doing. I don't like it. There's danger.
Because instead of heading away from the bullet noise, I'm going towards it.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
We have to take out whoever took that
No,
shot.
that's not that. This isn't the formation that we're supposed to be in. Why are you going off and doing your own thing?
If someone's in there and needs help, then we have to help them.
No, that's not what this is about. You're going into danger because you're risking. You're being reckless. Stop.
This is normal behavior for a human being. You try to protect each other, not leave each other in the
We're
dust.
supposed to be the group that we were supposed to follow the formation. You're not. You're not supposed to go off on your own.
We're here, aren't you?
That's right.
I agree. The formation is broken. That is the result. And you are now deep in the woods, closer to where that gunshot happened. The overgrowth here is pretty heavy. Neither of you have rolled well enough to pay attention to much of anything. And that's when you trip. And you fall to the ground. Starburst, you were falling out of consciousness as even more blood left your body, and then someone stepped on you. You feel them fall next to you. The two of you are now face to face. You're awake, though barely. Remy, you see a very, damaged young woman who looks as if she's covered in scars, but worse than that, she's gushing blood from her shoulder and her arm looks broken and she is clearly bleeding from the leg as well. In a brief moment, you assess all of the problems and you can't help but think she probably isn't going to survive.
Hey, what happened to you?
Starburst looks up at you, and you can see her eyes kind of like flickering to stay open. And given the cataclysm of nightmares that the last 5 minutes have been, she's like a deer in headlights. She doesn't try to like flee or move or anything. She leans her back onto a tree because it's as far away from you as she can physically get, knowing she can't move.
Okay. And I'm also still laying down. I start to really slowly get up. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm a doctor. I can help with this. But we have to move. We have to go.
Move to where? Where are you going?
Away.
Who are you with? Are you with the people with the suits, the vests?
No, wait, we look like we have suits and vests. We're just wagging along.
While you're talking to one another, what are the two of you doing?
I've pulled up the rear. I saw these two break away and do their thing that I have seen a few times, which is get into an argument. I roll my eyes a little bit and crouch a little deeper and make eyes to my sister that we're gonna keep our eyes open.
As the two of you are standing
Lenore-
there. Oh, go
well,
ahead, please.
Lenormand knows exactly what this means, like knows exactly what this look means, and decides to take it a step further. Since most of the group has stepped away, Nibs is watching the cart, and Flywheel has her back. She says to Eli, "Stop. You are unnecessarily scared, hectic. You refused water. You refused food. Show me what is in your pocket now, and I will not ask you again. Now!"
You're doing this now?
I have my crossbow like pointed at the back of his head.
He looks shocked and he's looking to all of you like with a great amount of distrust, eyes moving back and forth. You see something happening.
They're
there.
out of
Well, they're in view just far enough down into this little clearing.
They're looking at us.
Yeah, they're not looking at this. They're not looking at this.
She's seeing everything.
What I'm saying is Eli is looking to them and looking back to the cart, trying to find out who might actually help them in this situation.
Yeah.
And he's seeing that no one will. He turns and starts to run.
I shoot.
Make a roll for me, please. He will not dodge because he is unable to see that you are aiming now at his back as he runs down the rail line.
Yeah. I have a 45 and then +3 on archery, but that's, I guess, that adds on to damage for
It does.
this particular season.
It does.
I rolled a 29. So the
2 degrees of success. Would you like to add some competency to it?
Well, with my compound crossbow, each hit gives me 2 damage anyway.
All right.
So
roll
with
one. Roll a
with
single.
having those 2 hits, that gives me 4 damage to roll.
Okay.
And since I have that +3,
Now, it doesn't matter. You had me at 4. As Eli's body hits the ground, your perfectly aimed crossbow bolt has pierced through his back and into the front of his chest, just barely. Blood spurts out from his mouth as he falls to the ground, hands still in his pocket. He lies there gurgling. You can hear that a lung has been punctured and his breath wheezes. He's crying.
I'm walking towards him this entire time. While this is happening, I retrieve my arrow.
That he screams as soon as that happens. He was probably in
Oh,
shock.
okay. Then I wait.
No, you don't. I'm
Okay.
sorry. You
Can I cover his mouth while I'm doing it?
You can pull it out as he starts to scream. You can try to silence him. I just want you to make a grapple check. You're gonna most likely make this unless you absolutely roll poorly. He's not moving. He's not trying to fight you. I just want to know.
What's going on?
Yeah, like I want him to make noise, but not yet. My grapple is 15. I rolled a 43.
You don't catch his mouth in time. He does yell, and then you cover his mouth. That's it. So there is a shout that is run out. I've spent 10 risk, and a secondary horde of Romeros starts to overwhelm the area where the cart was as they pour out from the forest behind you. As they were also drawn to the helicopter, now the scream has re-diverted them towards you.
I pull everything of worth, including what's in his pocket.
Okay, you take his backpack, and I'll allow, if you want to keep moving, I'll allow you to take his backpack and hit whatever's in his pocket.
What was in his pocket?
Small golden cross,
Is that it? Nothing else?
nothing else.
All he had to do was tell me. That's what she says out loud. I asked, and that's all he had to do.
His body is no longer moving. He's limp in your hands as you grab his backpack, and you move where?
Well, at this point, we have a horde going towards the, heading towards the cart, but we only have Nibs and Flywheel over there. We have these two doing something with someone, so it looks like that's already taken care of. Going to head back to the cart to make sure that Flywheel is okay, see if we can put the cart back on the wheels so that...
Flywheel is in between you and the cart, and then at the cart is Nibs, who is, you don't see at the cart. As you get a little further down the ridge, as you grab everything and turn and run back towards Flywheel. Flywheel, what are you doing?
Anything particular I saw with that spot listen check?
What was your success on it?
3 degrees.
Yeah, so you know for a fact now that not only are they coming from the direction of behind you, from where the carts are, and from in front of you, you also hear the groaning and the motion of the underbrush being trampled off to the west.
We're not heading west, are we?
You're headed west.
And I make my way back towards the cart with the intention of pushing it back east for the moment.
Meg Ryan is on your shoulder, and you start to move closer to the cart. You get there moments before your sister, and then you arrive. However, you see Nibs now. What's left of Nibs. 2 Romeros are pulling his intestines out, chewing and grabbing, grasping, clawing, as flesh is ripped asunder in a bloody mess. You didn't hear him yell.
They're distracted.
They are distracted.
Should we hide the cart better? Or should we just try to get it and go?
How far are the Romeros from the cart?
About 10 yards. Nibs was clearly trying to move closer to find out what was happening and met a very untimely end.
Or we could take them out and still try to get the cart.
The goats are making noise as they begin to shuffle back and forth. The mule, standing off, tied to the tree, begins pulling against its reins, braying.
All right. Rock, paper,
The dead
scissors
stand.
to get the cart. Or to just leave it behind.
Let's go. We do.
So, if you win, we're getting the cart. Or if I win, we're just leaving. 1, 2, 3, throw.
I
Fine.
want that gear.
We'll get the cart. This doesn't seem like a good idea, but we'll make it happen. East.
So what is your intention? Typically, this in a combat situation, we'll take your intention. We will work towards a resolution together, and I'll allow each of you to make some rolls to determine in what order things will happen. Currently, however, since we're establishing this particular incident, I'm going to just go from individual at the table, and we will establish initiatives later. So let's start with Flywheel. Just tell me briefly what you're doing.
I want to get to the cart, cut the goats, and send them off in the opposite direction we're going, and if I can, and take the cart east.
Can you repeat that? You're trying to distract the Romeros that are near the cart and send them the opposite direction.
I'm trying to send the goats off,
Oh.
essentially bait, so we can escape.
So you're going to distract the Romeros with living food. So you're going to untether the goats and do that. I'm not going to have you roll anything. I'm just going to let you know that you are putting yourself within danger. There are enough Romeros forming. It is in fact a location hazard. Congratulations. You have a competency point that you've earned from the situation. Acumen is a special skill that some of the players have, and I'm sorry that it exists within the game. Lenorma, what are you doing?
Well, getting the cart back on the railing, because whatever is happening over there, it seems like we're going to need that to be able to push and get out of here.
Are you using the mule to do that, or are you going to try to manually pull the cart?
Using the mule.
Okay. In that case, you're also going to be putting yourself into danger. I'm not going to make you roll anything, but you're going to have to untether the mule while Romeros are moving in. You could just pull the cart, but that would require a lift pull, and it is very heavy. You might have some trouble, as I will definitely add some difficulty dice to your roll.
Yeah, no, we're going for the mule.
All right? So you're going to be untethering the mule, you're untethering the goats, trying to set them free to create a distraction for the Romeros. Remy, you and Sinnott are in front of this tortured young woman. What are you doing?
My intent is to try to convince her or assist her to leave with us back towards the cart.
Right?
And I'm trying to help facilitate that by keeping her calm.
You remain in the same area. Very well. As you are there, please tell us how this happens.
Listen, we're not. Look at us. We're rag and bone. We're the merchants that go along the rail line. We're here to help. We have other people with us.
Okay, great. Do you know how to get out of this?
Yes, I do. Can you run? Can you walk?
You certainly can't run.
Get on, and I'm just gonna pick you up and fireman carry you.
She starts to kind of flail and try to hit his shoulder, and then realizes how much it hurts to do so, and that even though this is her good arm at the moment, everything is so bruised and battered from the accident that she almost goes limp over your shoulder and gives up.
And now that she's up on Sinnot's shoulders, I would just run alongside them, but I'm trying to compress the areas that are bleeding the worst. So anything near a major artery or a vessel, her arm or her leg, whichever is bleeding worse.
This is quite a feat of
I'm just holding it with my hand as we're running. I'm
agility.
not trying.
You are very good at medicine, but you're just trying to block the staunch the blood, right?
Right, as we're
All right.
running.
I'm not going to make you make a roll for that. You're throwing your arm out, and you're focused on Starburst, blocking the loss of blood. That's something I'm going to give to you free.
Okay.
Starburst, you're on Sinnott's back now, as he picks you up very easily. She's very light. Sinnott, you're a very powerfully built man. I'm not going to make you roll anything for this. However, I am going to have you make a dodge.
Just him or both of us?
Just him.
I know. Come on, Dad. Yes. 1 degree of success.
A man in armor, now a Romero, fresh, throws himself towards you as his jaw hangs at a crooked angle on his face. His newly dead eyes glazed over as he grabs at you and stands there. In his hand, still a Glock. The pistol is still within the Romero's hand.
I immediately, when I see this, I immediately reach out with my rail driver, and I just use the sharp edge to shove him off onto the ground.
Very well. That I will make you roll for. Go ahead and make your melee roll. How badly is it?
Okay, that's a 75 over... Sorry, remind me which one melee attack is. It's one of these
You're
three
doing the
rolls.
melee. I think it's this one. Yeah.
15. Why have I done this thing?
Okay. So you have 5 degrees of failure again, and plus we'll say because you're holding Starburst together with one hand, and you try to push this out, you fail and throw yourself closer. Do you want to spend any competency?
Sure, I've got 2 left. I'll just burn them.
So it's not a catastrophic failure, which means you're not going to walk away from this encounter immediately bit.
Yay.
Understood. You still have 3 degrees of failure, and you are exposed. You have 2 choices. Let go of Starburst and let her continue to bleed, or continue to hold back the river of blood pouring from her shoulder and keep yourself exposed to this Romero.
I think I figure if I die, the chances of them making it are a lot smaller also. So I just let go. Sorry, run. And I turn my attention back to the Romero to try to block him. But this time I'll use my gun, maybe, if I can do that.
You're going to draw a weapon?
Yeah.
A separate weapon? So you're dropping your rail driver and just pulling a pistol out?
If I have to make another melee roll, it's not, I'm just realizing now, my new character is not going to work. Why do I have this weapon?
I'm going to give you a single black die of difficulty. As you drop the current weapon, you draw your gun. You can roll your rifle, but just add that black die in for the difficulty of changing weapons so quickly. Also, if you don't come back for it or pick it up when this is over, the rail driver is lost to you.
Good. Okay, so I rolled the same number, but I rolled 1% higher than my
So that's 1 degree of failure.
long gun. Yeah, that's great. I have no more competency left.
No, you do not. But
So, that's a
I am
failure.
a fair game master. I'm willing to negotiate if you are. If you give me 20 risk right now, I will spend 20 risk immediately and allow you to succeed.
I'll take it. Sorry, guys.
Bennett, make another dodge roll for me.
Oh,
You've begun running, and as I spend 20 risk, you have taken Starburst and started to charge, but there are 2 Romeros in that pathway. You find yourself surrounded.
Oh. Good catch. Doesn't count. What? No, listen, I feel like you should do that again.
How'd you do?
That's 5 degrees of failure. But I got 2. Actually, no, it's only 4 degrees of failure. It's not all the way up to 5. So I have 2 competency points. I will use them both. So it's 2 degrees of failure instead of 4.
2 degrees of failure. In this game, there's something known as a degree of difference. If you fail enough and someone else succeeds well enough, the difference between those 2 numbers can cause things to happen. I currently have a degree of difference that is very bad for you. Meaning that I'll get to immediately initiate a bite, and you're going to take it. The only thing that can be done here is up to Starburst. Do you want to try to block this Romero as it attempts to bite the man who's carrying you?
Absolutely. I'm going to do my best to block with my already injured arm to try and maintain some functional mobility with my left arm. And I'm just going to try and throw that with so little control of it at this point in front of the bite and like take it into the same shoulder.
As the Romero lunges towards Sinnett's shoulder, pus and black bile pouring from its eyes and mouth, The emaciated head comes closer and closer to your shoulder. Sinnit, this is it. You know this is the end. You're going to take this bite, and it's going to be on your shoulder, and you will not be able to remove the limb. And then Starburst swings forward, her shoulder absorbing the attack. You watch as this young woman gushes even further, as more of her lifeblood drips from her body onto you as a chunk of flesh is pulled. You feel a tendon rip and pop, and I need you to make an endurance check with 3 black dice of difficulty, Starburst. I am so sorry. You have been through far too much to remain conscious.
Okay, so it was already really bad.
Let's do the shorthand on it. How bad is it?
4 degrees of failure.
4 degrees of failure. You're unconscious.
Yeah.
And you're unable to inform anyone that everything is slipping away. You feel your life slowly leaving you, and you know in this darkness that you most likely will not return. Sinnit, she's unconscious. The Romero is still struggling, pulls back, a large tendon still in its jaw. As it pulls back, the other Romero starts moving towards you. I'm going to come back to both of you as the 2 of you are freeing the animals. The goats run off slowly and ponderously, as they are, in fact, very pregnant. But they do, once you spook them, run forward down the tracks. Lenorma, you do manage to free the mule. But now, the 2 of you are in the middle of this horde. As it starts to pour forward, more and more of them appear. You can still try to pull the cart up. You are able to do so. But if you fail, you're going to find yourselves here in combat. This is your last chance to move away. Does that make sense to both?
It does. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull my melee weapon. Suppose we're pulling the cart.
Let's go.
Make a lift pull. As you bring the mule about, you have to pull it to do what you want.
There's lift pull, but then there's like, what if we're attacking the cart in a way like not a lift pull, but maybe it's a
Maybe it's a lift pull.
Both try to do this at the same time.
Oh wait, it's definitely a lift pull. If you give me 10 risk, I will tell you something that might work.
straight pull or risk.
That's up to you.
Yeah, let's do the risk.
All right. You're very good at explosives, and you do have some. If you cause an explosion near enough on the opposite side of the mule might be scared and do exactly what you want.
Let's do it.
All right, make an explosives roll.
Okay.
You have a pipe bomb that you draw for. And of course, the risk that you've given me is for the amount of noise that you're about to create. Every Romero within a mile radius is probably on its way to this very spot. Your time here is very limited.
Of course it is.
But this cart might be saved. The goats, however, are not so lucky.
Actually, I have a 35 for explosive, and then for, I guess, throwing, I have a +1, but that's after the thing. I rolled a 27, so that's a degree of success.
That's 1 degree of success, which is going to be
Well,
enough.
does that +1 do anything?
It's enough for you to succeed at this. unless you would like to spectacularly succeed, and that would require competence.
Why do you do this?
It's my job, I apologize.
I'll do 1 competency.
Then you are going to succeed well enough that the cart is pulled up to the tracks. However, flywheel, the wheels,
2 competency.
I need flywheel's mind on this. This is going to require a mechanical brain, one that flywheel possesses. Tell me, flywheel, what is it that you would like to do to try to assist as your sister scares the mule with the explosion of a pipe bomb, throwing dirt and other debris into the air?
There's a certain look on her face while she's doing this. It's like euphoria. This is like the best possible thing to ever happen.
That's your sister.
What's wrong with the wheels?
You have to be able to get them quickly onto the tracks, and without Sinet, it's going to be very, very difficult unless you can figure out a way to make that happen.
All right. I'm going to. I don't know if there's something inside the cart that I could use to serve as a ramp for the wheels up onto the track.
There are.
I'd be willing to sacrifice.
You could take the lid off of a crate and throw it down there. Okay, so as you pull the lid and throw it down, go ahead and just make an engineering roll for me to see if you do it right.
Engineering. Absolutely.
It's at the very bottom in your expert.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that was.
Now, again, because it's an expert skill, it does mean degrees of success are much more powerful. This is a very specialized set of skills. Is that bad or good?
That's not bad. I rolled a 6.
Wow.
And I have a 65.
Yeah,
So that's 5 degrees
don't
of
worry.
success.
We're done. 5 degrees of success.
Okay,
The
well,
cart
sisters
is not
work
only on the
together.
tracks, but why don't you tell me something good that's come from all of this, and I'll allow it to happen within reason.
Oh. We could keep the goats. Maybe I'd like to keep the billy goat if possible, but I think something good that happens as a result is we've led these Romeros have already heard us. They're headed this way. And as we get this cart quickly up and far enough away, it makes some of the Romeros jerk forward as they try to catch us because the cart is going faster now, which puts them directly into the path of my sister's pipe bomb.
Accepted. The spearhead of the Romero swarm explodes as the pipe bomb ignites and the goats charge off into the distance. They are lost, but the rest of your salvaged goods and material are safe. The cart itself is fine. The mule is fine. You've saved the salted pork, and most importantly, all of the generator parts have been saved. A veritable fortune in this world.
I just hug the generator parts as we careen down. Yeah, Meg, read it and weep.
Oh, we forgot about Meg Ryan's frenemy.
They will catch up if they catch up.
I'm sure they will, if they are strong.
You are leaving them behind.
Right now we are?
We'll move over to that group then. You hear a lot of commotion and an explosion behind you. Let's go with Remy. Remy, you are actually engaged with this newly created Romero.
Yeah.
You've never seen armor like this before. It's very well made. And while the helmet is off, you see it off on the distance, like he took it off, and it's covered in blood, but it's shaped like a skull. And the armor that he has it looks new. It looks well maintained. It looks much better than anything the Citadel uses.
No time to look at those. It's still alive, right?
The zombie is still active.
Active, sorry. You know
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to. Am I really gonna try to shoot again? I'm gonna try to shoot point blank, and then if that doesn't work, I'm just gonna leave.
All right. I'd like for you to roll a depletion die for me.
2.
You didn't get a 6. Continue.
Oh my god. Okay, that's an 8 over 47. So 3 degrees. Right in the head.
As his head explodes, black bile pours forth behind him as his body slumps to the ground in front of you.
I grab the gun out of its hands and I run.
All right.
And I'm running towards Senate.
Senate, how do you attempt to escape the two Romero? You've got a dying girl on your shoulders. There's no doubt of that. You know, she's getting cold.
Oh.
And she's shivering. And her eyes are closed and she's not responding.
Did she buy us any distance between us and the Romero?
Yes.
First, I'm just gonna run as fast as I can towards the track where I thought we had left people standing guard.
Make another dodge roll. Anyone, with the exception of Starburst at this point, can share competency to try to get you out of this situation. You two excluded.
Well, I don't have any. So that's nobody.
It's a long-winded way of saying no one can help.
Unless the monkey's got something we don't know about.
Do I see another Romero coming for us as I'm sprinting? The same one?
No, the same one is still going for you. It was only a tendon. They want more.
So I was gonna reposition Starburst,
Yes.
but instead I'm gonna keep her where she was because she's sort of covered.
All right.
And if she's dying anyway, I'm gonna let her take another blow if it hits.
You're going to use the dying girl as a shield?
I was-
Understood.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I don't think I need to because I got one success on my die.
You're very lucky that this Romero is distracted. As it stumbles forward, it misses you, and you escape up to the yellow brick road. Remy shortly thereafter. However, your ride has left you. You see them far down the tracks, moving at a very brisk pace.
Fine. We would have done the same. We got to get away from this horde. Can you run?
Yeah, I can run. I don't know how long she's gonna last, but
As you run, you see Eli lying there, blood all around him.
That's one down. I mean, well, I'm not gonna. There's no time. If he looks like he's dead, then I'm not gonna take the time to assess what killed him.
So you continue to run?
Yes.
Yeah.
You leave Eli behind. As you watch his body slowly pull itself up, you manage to escape. He is behind you, shambling so slowly that he doesn't pose a threat. Make an endurance check, and we'll see if you're able to catch up. Remy, I'd like for you to do the same.
Is it a possibility that if we see them, we slow down?
I'd like for you both to make spot listen checks. You have been through a lot. You knew that they were coming, but you're also very distracted.
But also we
I
also
like
have
speed.
You have the momentum right now. If you wish to slow down, by all means.
These are my dice.
Wow, I totally spotted them. I got a 16 out of 55.
Okay, so yes, you do see them coming down the tracks. What do you two want to do?
So we see them. They're right there. Meg Ryan would be sad if she no longer had her frenemy to make fun of. And Remy is a good doctor and makes a good part of the team. We did just lose Nibs and the liar Elia. I believe we should slow down.
You always know how to not appeal to my sentimental nature. Fine. We'll slow down a little.
The cart begins to slow down. How did you do on your endurance check?
One failure.
Okay, how did you do?
2 failures.
It's a good thing that they slowed down because you are flagging very quickly. They aren't going to make it to you unless you slow down further. They won't be
Meg,
able
what do
to
you
catch
think?
up.
I'm asking the monkey.
The monkey is currently scratching its arm.
Rock, paper, scissors. If I win, we slow down the cart more. If you win, it's up to them.
Nah. Well, it's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I understand if I believe
They
in
seem
your
to be having a
feelings.
conversation while you charge with every breath, every bit of fight that you have remaining in you. You are running down the yellow brick road, and they are talking to each
Take
other.
it as a vote of my love for you.
We're going to stop the cart.
The cart stops. Now, as you reach the cart, Remy, you have something very, very important that you have to do. You already know this. You've already seen her. It looks even worse. You don't know if she's still alive, but if she is, you have to act right now. If you don't, she's done.
Anyway, I can help. We tag team.
Yes, you can assist. You have the skills. You used to be a mortician. You know how to embalm. You know the human body, and you have learned, mostly from Remy, many of the skills that you now have. The two of you have spent a long time together. You were once lovers. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Once upon a time,
Complicated.
not anymore.
Lay her
Please.
down. Thank you for stopping, you two.
Who the fuck is this?
We'll explain later.
Why don't we just put that person on the cart so that we can continue running?
We will once we.
We have to stabilize her. Just wait one
You
second.
can't do it on a moving cart.
Give us a minute.
But we will do it quickly,
Yes, always. Okay.
because if not,
yes,
we
we are
should-
gonna do it quickly.
yes, yes.
okay, I'm just saying,
kids.
then we
If
should.
you fail this roll, Starburst is dead.
Can
How many
we share?
competency?
Can we share a competency at this point? Now
You
that
are
we're back
all in
together.
the same location,
And-
working together as a team. Yes, you may
Would
share
you say that we're in
competency.
a formation as well?
I would not, because you did not say that you were in a formation.
I believe as a leader that I would have taken a point to make sure that we were in a formation.
It's funny about hindsight.
I got 4. We'll see how generous I'm
All
feeling.
right, let's see.
Okay, so
Medical, advanced.
Nice.
Christ. 65 over what is
Oh,
my?
enhanced medical or first aid?
I
It's
rolled
beyond first aid.
the same.
Oh.
First aid would not save it.
65 as over 65.
So you got 65. You have 0. You've made it. It's absolutely a wash. It's
Yeah.
65.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have no degrees of success or failure. You
Well-
are trying your best just to keep her alive, and you don't think you're going to succeed. Without some competency points, Starburst is dead.
Well, how can
She used
You have
all-
1 minute to make your decisions.
How are your feelings
Oh
right
my
now?
god.
Could a successful first aid roll on
I'm-
my part of support?
If this bell rings,
Listen.
Starburst is dead.
The longer these fuckers take, the longer before we start. So,
I really did enjoy throwing the bombs and then also making the cart go faster.
Please help.
So
yeah,
we-
all right, I'll jump down and I'll just like slam my hands into the parts that are still bleeding very effusively. Like, just no, I do not care. I'll give you 2 of my comments.
I'm gonna move her hands to where they should be.
Yes, okay.
One success.
She was- They were probably doing way more damage. than-
I put it on her face.
all right? So how many competency?
2.
Is that enough?
No.
I then see what Flywheel is doing. So I step forward and be like, oh, so this is what we've decided. Okay. And we'll help with bandage wrapping across the parts that have been held down so that can be
I will
sectioned
remind you
off,
the timer
right?
is still moving.
Is a competency point enough? Or I'll
3 will do it.
I only have 2 left.
So you will have
So,
1 remaining
2
after you
plus
spend
1,
it.
so.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yes.
So those 2 are spent by you. The
And I
last is spent by
spent
you.
mine. Yes.
Congratulations. It is
Got you.
a miracle but you have managed
I'm glad you're happy.
to save her life, Remy. With the help of everyone here, of course.
Thank you.
But your knowledge guided them forward.
Thank you all for helping, but there is some shit that happened back there that we need to talk about later.
You are welcome. Thank you for your medical knowledge.
In the 3 or 4 minutes that it took to stabilize Starburst, there's a lone Romero still pulling itself down the trail, moving closer and closer to you down the yellow brick road. It's Eli.
They want to.
You want us to spike it, Happy?
My pleasure. I'm gonna go up to the one that's rail driver. 2 and 1, and I'm gonna pierce him right through the neck.
His body drops limp to the ground. Eli is now truly dead.
I'm gonna take anything of value they had on it. Do you have any ammo or anything?
Nothing. In fact, it seems as if he's lost his backpack. I will also say that Nibs is nowhere to be seen. You realize that you're short another. Now it's only 4 and a dying girl. Well, formerly dying.
And a monkey.
Of course, we can't forget Meg, but
Did you two see what happened to Nibs and Eli?
There were many Romeros, and unfortunately, not everyone was able to make it.
Nibs got chomped. We gotta go. There's more
Can
coming.
I see if
I'm more than willing to do a contested roll on this.
no, I was
And I
gonna
also
say, can I
searched Eli.
can I see if Lenorma is holding Eli's backpack? Like, are you just holding it, or did you hide it?
I would have put it in the card already.
Okay, that's
yeah,
fair.
it's in the cart.
Yeah.
So,
And did I notice anything on Eli's body while I was searching it for?
oh yeah, he was pierced through with something that looks like a crossbow bolt.
It's so specific.
Yeah.
It's a
tear that
hole
out of
that
him.
doesn't. It's clearly not a bullet wound.
Okay.
There's no crossbow bolt. It's just a hole.
Okay.
But it looks like an arrow shaft pierced through his chest.
It is very unfortunate when we can't trust each other.
Did you do this?
Did I do what?
Did you shoot Eli?
Can I do a persuade roll?
You can, and you can contest it. Again, I would prefer if you figure this out in roleplay, but by all means, let's spice it up a little.
I just kind of want to see.
What the?
All right, I
I
rolled a
don't have-
27. My persuade's a 55.
Yeah, so you
so
have
it's
2 degrees of success. 3 degrees of success. Yeah, 3 degrees of
Okay,
success.
so what
you can detect motives.
Okay. 35 tech motives is here. So 1 degree of success.
So skew your roleplay towards less suspicious.
Okay.
It bothered me a lot with how Eli was. Can the cart also be moving while we're saying this?
If you say it, if you don't,
Yeah,
then
the
no.
cart's moving
Yeah,
while
we're
we're
moving.
having this
Let's get
conversation.
it going.
It bothered me a lot when Eli was not a team member and did not want water, did not want food, and it looked like kept on looking for ways to undermine us. When we were in the Romero horde, he did not act like himself at all. And unfortunately, he refused to listen to me when I asked him to go a certain way, to do a certain thing. And because of that, I think that's why he died. I'm certain of it.
We haven't known you both very long,
3 months.
so that's not very long. I know maybe it is for you too, but listen, 3 months was basically a lifetime ago. Whatever happened, look, there's only 4 of us left now. Maybe we should just hold on to that. And but listen, we need to talk things out. If there are problems, we think there's a problem here. And I just start getting choked up. We don't think it's about this. And I just kind of peel off and just take care of it. Just take care of it, please.
I step forward. Look, I called it out to you. Wasn't doing what he needed to do and pulling his own weight. It was only going to be a matter of time.
There will be others that can join our team. Right now, we're a total of 6, including Meg and whomever this is.
Figure that out when she wakes up.
I'm hopeful again.
But you know, if it's me that's going to be on the other end of something pointy, just at least give me a chance to not suffer.
Meg likes your will, they won't, they think.
Well, I got that.
I'm very straightforward. Very straightforward with
I
what
like
I
that
say.
about you. It's good. It's nice to know where you stand the whole time. And I'm going to try to go up to Meg. Scratch her behind.
Make a dodge roll.
My dodge is 47 and I rolled a 48.
Yeah, just if you wish to do something about it, it's fine. But it looks like she's going to try to bite you.
No, not yet. Okay, too soon. These days, though, man, you and I be like this.
Stressful day, you get it.
And I'm gonna go. We're still moving forward, right?
Yes, you're off the cart and you're walking behind it
Yes.
alone.
For now, yes.
On the horizon, pale pink, light white light appears as dawn slowly breaks. You've been walking for hours. This stranger somehow is still alive, breathing somewhat raggedly, but is stable. Remy has not returned to the group and is continuing to follow behind. And as the light appears on that horizon, you see the silhouette of the docks. You see the walls constructed around a river. This is the river that is used often to traffic so much fare across all of the small communities here. From this place, from the docks, you will offload all the remaining supplies that you have, get a good barter for it, and bring those very specialized items that are trafficked along the river back to the rest of the Pin region as you head west after this. But first, as you begin to approach the walls, you see a number of individuals walking on a parapet on the top. It's a log structure, big, heavy, enormous, uncleaned, bark-covered logs that form this wall. There are bridges that move across this large, rushing river. And there are islands that have been constructed, small buildings on stilts that are spread out with many bridges, rope bridges attaching them. The people who live here on the docks live in the river, safe from any Romero attacks. They've constructed a life here that is outside what others might consider the norm, but it's very effective. They're guarded and careful. It's the only way that they've continued to survive this long. However, the dried fish and other fare that they produce here is essential to the survival of every other group that you work with. If the docks ever falls, your supply chain is going to be weak enough that others will surely follow. Who is on point as you approach the gate?
I'll take point if no one does.
I will be.
At some point, I think I would have popped back up into the cart to assess the stranger's wounds.
Still unconscious?
You are still unconscious.
And I say that we're in formation again.
You've been in formation now for hours.
Awesome.
You're exhausted.
Yeah.
You would like to find some place that you could safely sleep. Who's approaching the gate?
I will. I'm assuming we know people here at the docks.
You do. You know some of the people here. Your contact's name is Jaden.
Jade. Hello.
That's far enough. Just stop right there.
Right. Yep.
You all look like shit. Hot shit dragged through the toilet 5 times over.
This hot shit has some actual good shit. So.
What the fuck is wrong with her? From the parapet, they can clearly see down into the cart.
I don't fucking know, man. She got exploded. I just met her yesterday.
And you want to bring her in here? Who are you looking for? Who's your contact?
Jaden.
They are talking amongst each other on the parapet as you're standing outside. You're back now with the cart, Remy. A moment later, the guard comes back. What's your name?
Flywheel. Oh, everyone else is behind me, aren't they?
Oh, I am Lenorma. You are doing very well.
Thank you.
That was weird when he called us hot shit. We are not. We are human beings.
Well, not everyone.
I said you look like hot shit, not you are hot shit. I don't want to play semantics here, but we're the ones with the guns pointed down at you.
We're just another rag and bone group. We've come with goods, and we have someone that could use a little bit of attention.
I mean, fucking clearly. Is that a corpse?
Medical professionals here with us, so if you let us in and let us attend.
Did anyone think to cover her? Honestly. Cover her with something. Her body. Cover her.
Wounds
I think
required.
If you tell me that you would have,
I think I would have.
What bandages? I thought that we had.
she's
While I was
bandaged.
examining her.
Yeah,
Okay, is
we
that
had-
all?
We
Bandages?
had wrapped.
I think I would have covered her while I was examining her.
bandages, any random clothing that was in the cart, kind of a
And she
deal.
was shivering,
I think we would have
so-
put a jacket on her because it's like.
So yes, we
holes.
covered her.
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer is yes, you've covered her. It's very important because you remember her body. Well, you would especially would know how scarred up her body is. Very strange and doesn't look normal. All right. We've got a doctor, but he's not very good. More of a veterinarian than
We've got a
anything.
doctor that's very good.
Yes, our doctor is definitely better than your doctor.
Jaden appears. You see him. He's about your age. Also, not a wild one, though. Raised here. His father is the head of the community, a man known as Lincoln. His name is not actually Lincoln. He just looks like the guy on a penny. And so everyone calls him Lincoln. And this is Jaden, one of his sons. There are 5 other sons within the complex of the docks. And Jaden comes up and smacks the dude on the back of the head. I'm really sorry about this asshat.
Thank you.
Yeah. Open the fucking gates, you morons. Clearly they need our help. And, the gates open. And you are now inside of the complex of the docks. Now, on either side of the river, there are other buildings. There are structures, there are storehouses, there are lumber yards, and other things that they can't put onto these supported buildings and little islands that they've created out in the middle of the river. Effectively, it's like a dam that's built out of very large log cabins. And they're all linked together by these rope bridges. Jaden comes down and ushers you all forward. They take your cart and your donkey and take it over to a barn. Do you allow that to happen?
We've been here before, right?
You have.
It's
Yeah.
standard practice.
Standard practice. They're not they don't want to get on the bad side of the rag and bone. You don't think they're just going to say, well, it's our shit now. I mean, it's up to you as to whether or not you trust them to do so. I would never, ever misuse your trust.
Just before they take it off, I kind of put a hand on Jaden's arm and I say, that gear's gonna be safe, right?
Who am I? I've never done you dirty.
Lenorma's gonna set a timed bomb in it.
A timed
Do
bomb?
you do this openly?
Well,
Like a
I'd
countdown?
like
Do you
yeah, like a day.
Okay,
anything
but do
happens
you
like
put?
a day.
I guess the question that I have for you, Lenorma, is: do you pull out an explosive device brandish it and then set it into the cart and set the timer, or do you subtly do it in the background so that nobody can see it?
I think I'll subtly do it in Alaya's book bag.
Okay, that is much different. Make a stealth roll.
Oh no, I gotta remember that this character is not a stealth character.
We're going to resolve this, but I'll come back to you on what this roll is. Starburst.
It is, my stealth is 35. I rolled a 44.
So you
Trying to
have
think
you
if
currently have
there's
1 degree of failure, but as I said, Lenorma, I will come right back to you.
Yeah.
Starburst, you're no longer in the car. You're no longer with them. You're back in your cell. The white walls surround you as you wake up. You're in that paper gown that they would put you into before they put you through a procedure. You feel groggy. Your eyes pull open and you're lying on the hard cot. The glass is around you and you see her face looking through the glass at you. Sort of an indifference that's even worse than hatred. Like you're not a person at all. You're just another thing to be studied. Like the dead out there.
I maintain complete eye contact. I make her look at me while she does it, even if it doesn't affect her.
She steps into the room. She draws the hypodermic needle. She finds the vein on your arm and begins drawing blood. She doesn't break eye contact with you either. I'm glad to see you're not fighting today. It's very good.
I wait until the needle's out.
He pulls the needle out.
Then I'm trying to recap.
I'm going to say you do so. She falls to the ground, looks to you, pulls herself up, and pulls a remote from her pocket and presses a button.
I can't fucking wait for you to be one of them.
You feel a shock through your entire body as the tile that you are standing on is electrified. Your body convulses and tightens immediately. This has happened before. It will probably happen again. She lets you suffer longer than usual as she pulls herself up off the ground. Now, that isn't very ladylike. We've had this conversation. You'll do what we say, and it'll be better for you. Continue to fight, and it'll be worse. Choice is yours.
Pardon me. And I curtsy with my paper gown and flip her off.
She turns and walks out with the drawn blood. The door closes, and she turns back, but she no longer has a face. It's rotten. Her eyes ooze like puddles down her ruined cheeks as her skull slowly opens its mouth towards you, and her body now follows suit as a strange, broken Romero stands where she was a moment later, and you wake up with a start. You're in the cart, being moved on to a stretcher. Strangers are around you. What do you do?
It's not these strangers. Is it new strangers?
Never seen these men before.
Can I get up?
You cannot get up, but you can try to roll off the cot.
I am going to do my best to sell that I am completely okay.
That's an endurance check with 2 dice of difficulty attached to it as well. If you get any 6s, which are the H's on your dice, remember that those are exploding.
Okay, that did not happen, but it's still multiple degrees of success. It is 4 degrees of success, I believe. Or 3.
Okay, Remy, you're watching all this.
It's 3.
And somehow, this young woman has managed to sit herself up and seems about as fine as she possibly could be.
Hey, I run over so that I'm visible. Hey.
No, I'm good. Sorry about that. Back there, actually. That was, I think I hit my head a little bit. But you guys, I'm okay. I don't need anything.
Hey.
How'd you do?
My stealth is a 35. I rolled a 44, but my tools is a 3. Fine, I have a competency.
I'll take your competency point. You managed to set the bomb. Continue.
I'll tell Flywheel, I must return to this cart before this time tomorrow. There isn't a reason that I want to say out loud right now.
Continue.
Sure.
Make eye contact with Remy as I'm saying this. To them, entirely just this like, hey,
No, I'm all right. Don't worry about it.
and just like the most intense look that I can't possibly communicate with words to you why I need these people to leave me the fuck alone.
Okay. Hey everyone, can we just get a minute, please? She's really delicate, and she's one of the wild children. So just give me a second with her. Do you mind?
Thankfully, Jaden backs everyone down because it seems like Jaden has a good relationship with the sisters, and kind of calls them off.
Brian likes him.
Calls off the other individuals here. It just helps you get comfortable, and then they leave you on the cot. They pulled out some legs and they just set it down. Everybody walks away. You're on the banks of the river. Jaden looks to all of you. Look, I'm not here to make this difficult, clearly. I'm going to follow the doctor's orders. I guess we'll come back around in about an hour, but listen, my dad is going to want to know what the fuck is going on, so get ready to explain yourselves, all right?
That's fine. We just need some time to settle.
We've had a lot of shit going down right now. The Citadel's not making our lives easy. They really want this place.
Got
So,
some good news for you, Jade.
well, that's great. We'll talk about it later. I'm going to move back, okay? And you're left alone, all of you.
Is there a small hut or building that we can,
Yeah, there's the barn.
the barn?
Yeah.
We appreciate you, Gina.
So hey, it's just us. It's just us. I know something weird is going on with you, though.
Yes, hey, so, hello, and she's slowly, like, sliding off of the cot.
Be very careful near the back of the cart,
Jesus.
and not for a reason that you would want to know right now.
I bet. Great. I don't want to know anything, mostly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
We're not done with you.
You just need help. You just need help. You need some time to get better. You're not better yet.
This is a doctor, and you were really banged up, and you're not going to survive. You're going to bleed out.
She's been bit.
And you've been bit several times before.
So here is my clear communication to you in a way that Romero cannot do, that I am not a zombie, and
Can we just take a look, please?
I'm sorry, can that please be repeated? This one has been bit?
Look at her arms.
Her shoulder is gushing blood. However, she has scars across her shoulders and arms that do look like human bites, but
I mean, I thought that just had to be people or something because
I assumed that it was some sort of kink and I was not going to shame.
Did I
What
not?
is that? What?
Was I? We'll explain what that is. Did I notice her actually put herself in front of?
yeah, you saw her get bit.
You
You saw the tendon from the Romero's mouth. Part of her shoulder will always be in that thing's stomach.
Did you take that bite that was coming from me on purpose? What makes
So
you're
you're
so distrusting of people that are strangers, but you just met us, and you did that.
Don't read too far into it. You were carrying me, and if you die, I die.
But a bite is gonna kill you.
Bite is
you're immune.
bite is most likely not going to kill me.
You're
other than
immune.
all of the
Sure, you
bleeding.
think so?
Is it possible to be immune?
I've been researching. I've been trying to find someone all of this time.
And she immediately, as soon as you say I've been trying to find someone, I immediately like start popping towards the door of the barn. Not running.
Yep.
Not gonna pick up speed. I can't. But like backing away.
I'm going to say you take 2 steps and you fall, but you can try and pull yourself back up and go. But it gives everybody a moment. Just because you've gone through so much
Yeah,
damage.
again, not trying to move at speed, doesn't want to provoke anything. And and is really trying to just slowly, even if it's crawling, if she has to, get between them and the door to get closer to the door.
Wrong answer there, Brienne.
I'm so sorry. I'm not going to do anything to you. I'm just trying to help people. And we've just been wandering this world for years now, and I was so close at one point before all this happens to figure out a way. I don't know. I wouldn't. Can I at least talk to you? I won't poke you or anything. Just give us some time.
It is very apparent you are afraid, and that you have been abused in a number of ways, perhaps by those that said to trust them, perhaps by doctors. However, I can tell you, without any doubt in my heart, that this doctor can be trusted with your wounds. This team can be trusted as long as you can be. We can help you.
I will tell you anything that you want to know. It's fine. I was always willing to help. But the people who want whatever it is that I have haven't been able to figure it out yet. So willingness has not been enough.
Well, everyone's built a little different. Maybe I can figure out something. We have to try.
I'm not going to crawl faster than you can walk, so yeah, I guess we have to try.
Perhaps some water and salted pork will help.
And the shock of expression of even hearing about food is palpable from her, almost a gasp at the thought of it.
Water, food, and a nap, always.
Got two free mouths. You're not going to turn, right?
We no longer have to ration because of the two that are no longer with us.
I do uncover my other arm, which is just covered in bite marks. And again, they're layers of them. So some of them looking much older than others. She was bit repeatedly over and over again over the course of an extended period of time. But they're all somewhat at least healed over.
I'm so sorry you had to go through all that.
Looks metal.
Did that all happen in one place over and over again? Or did you escape through the woods and there were many occasions?
And I was only ever bit one time before I was, this was intentional.
Terrible. And we're
That
not.
person was not a good person and they deserve to die.
They did.
Nice.
Fortunately, it was not by me. But,
Was it the
Can't
people in the suits with the hard suits and the helmets that we saw?
they seemed like they were all working together. The fucking best assholes came in, and it was after the facility had been torn apart by Romero's. But they knew each other.
So we don't know about this group yet, but we'll try to keep you safe from them. And we won't tell people we found you with them, okay?
Do not show your bites to people.
Do you have any? Is she wearing any other clothes, or what are you? Your arms are fully
I
exposed?
only had the jacket that you had put on me, I believe, while I was covered.
I mean, rags,
You mentioned
mostly.
that earlier,
Yeah. I mean, she's covered, but
I could,
barely anything.
I could go into Eli's book bag
Oh,
to
boy.
see if there's some clothes.
I mean, do you?
No, because then you'll make the bomb go off.
I didn't say that I'd make it go off.
I'm
I
wearing
just make you
layers, so
roll.
I'm gonna take off my top layer.
Now,
The flannel.
I'm not trying to come in here and be difficult, but did we just decide that we were going to collectively stick our neck out for someone that we just met over they have armor? You're saying they have armor.
We don't know the whole story.
Yeah,
Why
why will
will-
we...
And this would be kind of like a little aside. If that one is immune, then that one is very valuable.
Can I hear that?
I would say yes. You were in the same space, unless the two of
She's
you were
super
stepping
weird.
away.
Yeah, I said it was an aside.
Oh, an aside. Well, an aside could be two things. It could be turning and saying
Well, I
something.
wouldn't do it for the camera, but
Oh, yeah. No, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
So all I need to hear from you
Sure.
is that you walked away because
Yeah.
you've done some things that seem very in the face of the individuals that you were in conflict with. Like you do not give a flying hell about them. So it was kind of hard to tell. So if you step away, you do. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, you step away.
That one is very valuable.
I'm not saying that
What
isn't.
would it be like to have a cure for what we have? We would not have to worry about some Romeros ever again.
Let me level with you here. Cures don't really mean shit if I am dead. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna get us a little extra assurance before we go protecting someone who is going to get us killed.
What kind of insurance would make you happy?
I don't need anything from you. I look over to the group and I say, it's those two I need a little extra.
I understand. I will back you up.
Did you two make a decision?
This
I'm
is
gonna-
very important.
Some kind of favor.
Well, you know I already owe you for helping us make that special place where we are trying to continue our research, and meeting her is very important to that end.
Call it dub.
I
Next
mean-
weapon you find, I want it.
It is a very small price to pay.
Next what?
Weapon.
I could just go really.
No, we want you here.
I could just get out.
They're super weird. It's going to be fine. We're all a happy little family, maybe.
Remy, here's the truth of it. Starburst cannot go. It's going to take at least 2 weeks before Starburst is able to move anywhere. So you all have to make a decision. If you wish to remain with Starburst here and protect Starburst for 2 weeks, you will be dodging the people of the docks and trying to maintain your ruse. The choice is up to you. We can resolve it later, but I just need to know if that's what you want to do.
Dr. Flywheel would require the next great weapon.
That's fine. Whatever.
Senate, I would require for you to become best friends with Meg Ryan.
I'm trying.
It makes me happy to see you try, and I want to see you try harder.
Okay. I don't know how I can try any harder than I have been, but she tries to.
I am sure you will find a way.
Y'all are so weird.
They're the weird. I promise.
So, what is
I think we
what
just
is
need
what
to-
is your name?
Starburst.
Starburst. I'm Remy.
Thank you.
Should we? Fine. Vote. I want to stay and make sure that Starburst can be fully recovered before we move on. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired as shit, so.
it'll be 2 weeks. Will you all stay?
I'll stay. Of course.
Thank you.
I will stay. The card would be too hard to push on my own, and Flywheel is staying.
Okay. So we'll stay with you, protect you, and then we leave together.
You're going to be the doctor that's in her care. I don't know if it's a good idea for their quack doctor that they have here to take a look at.
No one can see this, please.
That seems reasonable. We'll try to get some sort of accommodation separate from this area. And in return, I will just do what I always do for a whole town every time we roll up to one. And
You
Take care
can
of
do your
people.
doctor things. Flywheel is a great mechanic. I'm great with technical things. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. And Senate is
good at helping me at my job.
So
Senate can lift things.
That too.
I've noticed.
thanks to Jaden and your relationship that you built over the past months where you've worked with the docs here, Lincoln agrees to allow you all to stay. However, there is a very strong condition to that. Each and every one of you has to pull your weight. You're given jobs, and you work 10 to 12 hours a day supporting the community and helping in the various ways that you're able to. Senate, you spend your days chopping wood out in the forest and dragging large trunks back to be split and prepared for lumber. Of course, the doctor, Remy, you are busy caring to whatever needs the community has. There's plenty of sickness to go around, and it doesn't necessarily all end with a zombie. There are people who have untreated wounds. The previous doctor is jealous and angry. No more than a veterinarian is true, probably actually a little too nice. The people here have not had proper medical care, and your work is cut out for you. Lenormand, your technical skill does come in handy. They have waterways and irrigation systems, and unless you were to inform them about what you're really good at, they put you to work on those.
They do not need to know my private passions.
Working on the irrigation systems it is. You're helping the crops that are off to the side of the river. Again, none of you are actually housed on any of the islands. You're housed on a small building a little ways off the dock. There are rules here. Flywheel, you are, of course, doing a lot of mechanical work on other carriages, carts, and other transportation that they need work with. There is actually a car here, and they're trying to get it up and running so that they can use it for hauling. The parts are viable, and you can make it run on biodiesel. It's just going to take time.
Hell
So
yeah.
you're currently covered in grease working there. There are rules here, though, many of them, and one of them doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, it's, you know, at night, you never open the gates. You help one another. You never move off in groups of less than 2. Anyone who leaves the community has to officially make a statement to Lincoln letting them know that they are leaving and why. Anyone who is going to bring anyone else in has to clear that. No one is allowed into the community for any long period of time without a purpose. If you're on the specific islands in the river, you have to be granted permission. But the one that doesn't make any sense, no one is allowed to leave kitchen knives out at any point. If you use a kitchen knife, it has to be returned after your meal is finished and locked away in the commissary. And every meal you have, all of you eat in a very accommodable space. Delicious food, trout, fresh from the river. It's very good. The cooks here do a wonderful job. There's fresh vegetables and fruit. But your silverware is accounted for. And all of the knives are taken away. Now, while you're out working, of course, you're resting. They don't expect anything out of you other than to heal. And perhaps because of your lack of contribution, the others are working twice as hard. There's a price to pay for everything in this world. But fair is fair. Starburst, you're asleep, and it's peaceful. This place isn't perfect, and, you know, in the few days that you've been here, Remy has been kind, and you don't know if you trust any of these people, but you don't have a lot of choice, right? How are you feeling? What are you thinking about?
Starburst very closely monitors the wounds on her shoulder, on her leg, and even though everyone has been very kind to me so far, and arguably maybe the kindest that anyone's ever been to me, every day when I wake up checking the wounds for how soon I would be able to run if I had to. No actionable plan in this, just consistently assessing my own physical abilities and really trying to actually be gingerly and care for them to prepare for that.
You've been doing that. It's only a few days into your recovery. You don't know if Remy is accurate or not, but you think that 2 weeks is probably going to be enough. However, when you wake up this night, you're not alone. The dark room has just a sliver of light that pours into the cabin. There's only a few beds, some cots. Sinnott sleeps on the floor. A single dresser. But there's a dark shape in the corner.
We all sleep in the same room typically?
Yes. But no one else is here. They're all at work. You've woken up in this space alone. There are guards. There are people around. No one comes into your cabin. You lock it. You have the key for it. Somehow, though, there's a shape that seems to be moving in the corner.
Do any of them keep weapons by the bed?
You would have most likely assessed that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Are
I'm
you
planning
gonna-
an exit
Are
strategy.
you gonna search Lenorma's bed?
You have to get out of
Yeah,
your bed
I'm not
to
going
do
to do
that.
anything. It was just like, is there anything like bedside table next to
Yes.
in between us?
Yeah, there is there's a metal dish that has water in it, like a bowl, but it's made out of metal, and they've been using it with to clean your wounds and whatnot.
I am going to grab the metal bowl as I throw myself off of the bed and roll under it.
You roll under the bed. There's a clatter, and the figure now is a little more clear to you as that little stripe of sunlight starts to illuminate the outline of the figure. It's a hunched over old man. Scoliosis has racked his back. You see his ribs, bald but hair stringy around the sides of his ears hang down around him. You don't see his face as he's hunched over in the corner, not making any move to you. You're under the bed now. The figure keeps moving back and forth and is doing something, and you hear a sound. What do you do?
That sounds like a Romero. And I assume he is blocking the door. He's in the doorway.
No. He's just in the corner. The door is on the other side of the room, though.
Can I see any like weapons? Just gonna take it as a no, and I don't know if I can book it yet, but I've assessed my wounds every day, so I'm gonna book it to the best of my ability towards that door.
So you're crawling across the floor, and you feel your sutures and stitches popping as you pull yourself. Your right arm is not working yet. You
Okay.
know, it's broken, and you've lost that ligament in your neck. You don't know if it's ever going to be the same. So you're pulling yourself with one hand across
Yeah.
this floor.
I would argue that I know exactly what my ability is,
Yes.
and I'm going to do it as
Not-
carefully as possible, as quickly as possible.
I'm not saying that you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
But you're willing to hurt yourself to do this,
Absolutely.
yes? So you're pulling yourself as your hands grab onto the wooden floor, and you pull, you feel your fingernails breaking as you continue to move yourself to the door, no matter what it takes. The figure is still in the corner, Starburst. And as you pull, his head starts to turn. Oh, children of the valley, walking hand in hand. Oh, children of the valley, all across this land. And you see him now as you're pulling yourself across the floor. He's peeling skin off his leg with a knife and eating it. We'll see you next week.